Oh, well, I guess my camera is ready to record. Hello, welcome to Elisa Marie Designs. I am Elisa Maria. Welcome back if you're back. Hello, friends, and welcome if you are new. Hello, new friends. I have Night's Rest on my desk. She has, I would say, maybe about an hour's more worth of work before she is done. And I'm going to do a review on Monday because Monday I have a member meetup and we're going to meet in a Google Meet. It's a Moogle. I botched Google and member together. So we're having a Moogle meetup on Monday at 7 p.m. So if you haven't joined the membership and you're thinking, oh, I would like to be there with some of these people that I know already that are always here on Elisa Maria Designs, and I want to see what they're working on. I want to see what they're talking about, what's going on behind the scenes. You can join. Yeah, I'm getting myself ready. It's been a crazy morning. So let me show you how much I have to do. I just got out of the shower because Fofi was in a throwdown with his mother today. Oh yeah. He's giving me that look like, you ain't my mother. I'll have to listen to you. And John is like, Fofi, she is ready to throw you out the door. Oh yeah. I have a little alcohol wipe here because yesterday, that piece of hair that was torturing me on my face. Yesterday I was in here and I was diamond painting, and you know, when just everything is not going right, you know, it's just like, see the wax in here? It's not wax, it's putty. I was working on Moon Eater, so there'll be an update on that too. And it was just like, if there was like the tiniest piece of putty that was coming out the side, it was picking up the drills that I didn't need. One was hanging on for its life. It wouldn't let go. I'm like, I've never seen putty hang on like this. A little drill hanging on like this. It was just like, what is going on? Didn't have the patience. I just didn't have the patience yesterday. And, you know, I really wanted to diamond paint. I really am trying to make some, you know, not looking at my progress, but I like to be like, well, I haven't had you out. Let me work on you for a little bit and do it that way. Not work consecutive days on the same canvas, unless it was this one. Because like I was telling you guys, this girl here, she is heavy. She's not only big, she's heavy. And do you guys remember that? I don't know if it was this canvas in particular. It was this canvas. There's no drill count on it. One of my members, speaking of membership, emailed me and said, here, I couldn't watch you do math anymore. here's a little, it's not an app. Here's a little calculator, real easy. You just put your height and width in, and it'll square around, and it'll tell you how many drills are on the canvas. So that's all the fun stuff that you're missing if you're not a member yet. And so thank you, Karen. I have to get that. I have to get that out to my members. In fact, I'll get it out to you guys at the end of this. I'll put it in a little community post for you guys. And what else? Look at how much putty. Like usually you just like, you're like, oh, forget those little scraps. I'll just, you know, I'll just put the new putty on top. I don't know. It just was not, it needed to be saged. I think it's a good idea to maybe sage this room. You know, I moved a lot of things around, and I think that it's just good, you know, make the space, you know. It's such a metaphor too for, you know, our own lives. You know, you make that space and you could see more clearly, but what do you do with the new vision that you have? You know, because it's so easy to just go back to the same stuff and then have to clean it up all over again. So, you know, what do they say? Let that shit go. I was reading my Book of Awakening because I've been getting to my own personal practice every Thursday with my mentor, Felicia. And Friday night, I went out to dinner, and I'll put pictures up when I go to edit. It was so funny. I thought I had seen one of my yoga sisters that I did my training with And I was like, oh no, that's not her. And then look at all the gook that's coming out here. And then I went to go eat dinner and I put pictures up. I have not been on Facebook in like, I can't tell you how long. Usually things get posted to Facebook because they come through Instagram. And I don't post on Instagram all that much either. I don't need this tip, but I just wanted to clean it out. You know, when you start to see that stuff coming out the other end, oh, I find it so disgusting to look at. So I was going on my way to dinner and I thought I had seen one of my yoga sisters and I was like, oh no, that's not her, but it looks like her. Everybody's got a double, right? And she ended up she ended up texting me. Everything's still a phone call. I'm just that generation, Gen X, like, you know, everything's still a phone call, you know, because that's how we grew up. And she texted me. She was like, oh my God, you went to Bucatini? You know, my, I think she said her nephew isn't a part owner. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't believe it. And plus I thought I'd seen her. She's like, yeah, next time you go. Like not next time you go. She's like, we should go. And I used to go out to dinner with another Tracy. And it's just so funny too. She's so funny. She's hilarious. And I haven't seen her in a while. So yeah, I'm going to make plans to go out with her. But I've been doing my yoga practice with my yoga family. So what I'm getting at was when I read Tracy's message, I went in to look at any kind of notifications I had on Facebook that I never look at. And put this up. And the notification that was there was it was my anniversary of my teacher training in restorative yoga with my teacher, Felicia. And I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? I'm still practicing with Felicia. I just saw her today. So that was funny. Also, Felicia inspired one of my diamond art classes that is coming up in October. My members need to know first, but I'm letting you guys know that it's going to be my first event. Yeah. It was you guys know how I love reading from Book of Awakening. Well, she loves Pema Chodron. And so when she teaches her yin classes, she reads a lot of lessons from Pema, from all different books. And I usually tune out because it's not, I think we all have our spiritual teachers, and I'm just, I like Mark Nepo, and it's just a writing. I like the way that he writes. I like the observations that he makes. And so it's really nice that when you go to a class and you might, get too focused on what you are doing, and that makes it difficult for you to concentrate. It's nice that there's somebody there to read something that will make you get your mind off of yourself, or get your mind off a posture that might be challenging. So that's what that's about. And I just thought that was so interesting. Like, thought I saw Tracy, then heard from her. That was so funny. And then looking on Facebook and seeing that it was actually my anniversary of I did restorative teacher training. I think that's what I did with Karen Sapphire. And then I went and did the training again with Felicia. So that's there's Fufi's point of view that comes up on a Friday, and it's just like it's just like this is what went on this week. You want to know what happened this week? This is what happened. This is what I witnessed from my perch. Kind of a thing. And then he also does a little bit of a weekend update. So this weekend update is coming. Been busy. I've been a busy little bee. Busy. Where are we starting here? I think I'm going to finish this end. I think I gave this a good look over to see, do I have any missing drills? I am going to seal this one. Just too much work. Too many drills. I think there's 112 in this canvas. I thought that she was bigger than my Winter Fox. She's not. I thought I was breaking another record. My Winter Fox is 117,000. So I have 2 9s missing here. I'm gonna do the X's though. Here we go. a nice big firefly. This was an end of the roll. Oh, did I have scraps in here? I really don't use my trash containers because I have my little bin open right there. Boom, go away. Yeah, so that's what's been going on. Now the Jaws for the members, chapter 8. I had such a time uploading that to YouTube because it was violating policy because of the wording that I was using. So you guys have to let me know what you think of this chapter. I really was like, do I really need to put this up? Do I really need to put this chapter up? I want you guys to also keep in mind, I should put this in the description, that we are reading Jaws. We didn't intend to read it for the 50th anniversary. We didn't even know it was the 50th anniversary. It just fell into our lap, you know, as things do. John wanted to take a picture of Foofy with his glasses on that we bought him over at Five Below. And he's like, here, let him read Jaws. I'm like, we should read Jaws. The hell with the cat. We should read Jaws. What did I get here? X. 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 No, this is a plus sign. Good thing I looked. I have the wrong drills in here. Oh, see what I mean? This is just the way it's been going, guys. Let's start here then. I'm not going to dump these out. And I have a piece of Foofy here, speak of the devil. Right here I see it. Oh, gosh, this cat. And he's not allowed in here. I don't let him in here, even at night when I'm gone. I locked the door. I can't believe, thank God I looked. I would have filled these all in. That would have been a great end to this canvas. Would have been me putting my, it would have been me putting down my diamond painting pen for a good while. Had that happened, would have been like, guess what? You're going back. You'll be back out for Summer with the Masters 2026 because I would have lost it. Yeah. So yeah, we read Jaws. It was a little randy, even for my taste, and you know, being that the chapter was so big for Ellen, John was saying, you know, I said to John, I think I want to read a chapter with you. But one thing that I found out was John is more performative than I am. But then again, he did read the chapter before me. I mean, he's read the book so many times. I can't even tell you. This is his original book. This is his copy from 1974. And so, I have too many on there. He read the chapter before he goes back in. Even though he's finished the book, he'll still go back and read the chapter again for you guys. And you know how he wants to play it. I was reading it cold for the first time, which I thought I didn't do a bad job. But then when I went back and listened to it, I was like, oh, he's so performative. You know, I didn't have that in me to do that. But maybe if he lets me read another chapter, I will. But I really thought it was. I was like, of all the chapters that I read, right? Of all the chapters, am I in the shot? Yeah, okay. Of all the chapters that I read, I had to pick this one. John is so comfortable with the material, you know, and he just is playing along with it, you know. So I was getting kind of shy. I was getting kind of like, oh, yay. So we're coming to, we just did 8. John and I just did 8. We're going into 9 now. I did read ahead to 9. This one, I have never read any of the chapters ahead, you guys, but I thought if it's another big Ellen part, because the last 2 chapters have been, I want to be prepared. And I got to tell you, the one thing that I'm learning is that there's a shark in the water, but there's sharks everywhere. I mean, there's sharks, you know, with the people, different personalities, different objectives, different perspectives, you know, just, yeah. There's more than just a great white in the water. There's a few of them walking on land. So chapter 9 is going to introduce totally different characters, believe it or not. Yep. And it's exciting. I forgot that there's a shark in the water that they're trying to catch. I mean, I gotta tell you, Jaws is a classic kind of a movie. It's the kind of movie that you're going to watch. It's never going to get old. You're going to watch it again and again. We're going on 50 years. And for what they left out of this book and what they produced, it's really fun. Plus, I want to get all the pictures together that I have. Just like the book, I landed in Amity, didn't know where I was wondering why there were shark pictures everywhere. Airhead. I'm an airhead. I'm like, is there a shark in the water? They're like, what? I'm like, is there a shark? Why are there shark pictures everywhere I go? There's like drawings of, you go into a business, there's drawings of sharks. Like, what? They're like, Jaws was filmed here. I'm like, what? What? It was in Martha's Vineyard. Yeah. And I actually walked to the lighthouse. And went in the lighthouse and walked up the lighthouse. I had such a panic attack because, you know, a lighthouse is not very big. And I was one step to the top where the light was, and I was like, I gotta turn around. I'm getting claustrophobic, and I was like, stop wussing out, just go to the top. And I did. You could see it on my face. I'm going to show you guys the pictures that I have of my time in Amity in Martha's Vineyard, where it was filmed. So I have that all keyed up for you guys. Yeah, I have a lot of behind the scenes stuff that I'm doing. But I will tell my members on Monday what my first event is going to be. And I've already have a lot of the material already. I've been working on it for the past few weeks. Again, from this book that Felicia was reading. So they'll get all the details. And then when I get everything all nailed down, you guys will be able to join. It is going to be a member event because I have so much material that I'm going to be giving to you that it will be a member. It'll be a member exclusive event for my members. So that's what I'm doing there. It's all, you know, I am really taking the cues as I am going forward with this, that this is something that I want to do with my members. Where'd it go? And it just makes sense that I would do it with them. It's just appropriate that I would do it with them. So, yeah, I just, like I said, I don't plan. I let things unfold, and I feel really good about it. And maybe because it's my first, I don't know why, maybe because it's my first event. Maybe because, I wouldn't say I'm nervous. I really like the material. I think a lot of my members like Self-Care Sunday. So I think that they're going to really enjoy this event that's coming. Okay. What else is going on? I am going out to Jersey tomorrow. I'm going to go see my mother. And I hope maybe I can go see my cousin because he's out of work for 5 weeks, so I'm hoping that I could get out to see him. He's very close to where my mom lives. And go over and say hello. Going to Jersey. And of course, I'll go see Joe, my dad. Now, my dad's sign for me is a quarter. So, I'm telling you guys, like, you might find pennies on the floor and stuff like that. When the first coin that I found after my father died, it was a quarter. And I'm like, really, Dad? Like, I need signs from you. Like, they say the first coin that you find, that's the sign from your loved one after they die. I found a quarter. I'm like, really? I'm never going to hear from you. Who finds quarters? I find them everywhere. Sometimes I don't even bother to pick them up. Okay? So, I have a tray full of quarters next to my dad's picture downstairs. And what I do is when I go to the cemetery, I bring them with me, and I put all the quarters on top of his tombstone. And they might fall off with the rain and the weather or whatever. They're in the dirt. I'm like, my dad's gravesite is like a slot machine. My mother's like, there's quarters all over your father's grave. I'm like, all right. People are going to steal them. I'm like, well, Joe will take care of that. And what am I going to do? That's what I do. I don't look behind me. I keep looking forward. This is what I do for my dad. I heard you. And if anybody wants to go touch his daughter's quarters, I feel sorry for you. Unless you talk to my father and you had a good reason. I feel sorry for you. Touch my dad's quarters. He used to love that little game on his phone. Like, you know when apps started to first come out, and he had that slot. Or, no, it wasn't even. He didn't have an app on his phone. He said to me, he's like, I don't know why your mother bought me a cell phone. Nobody calls me. But he had one of these, the portable ones. I don't even know. It was some kind of slot machine. Because my aunt, my mother's sister, was a pit boss in Caesars in Atlantic City. And, you know, she may have gotten him this from Caesars, like a little game. He loved it. He loved it. He was another one. He liked it. He liked, he used to, he didn't know, but he didn't know that I know. But he used to sneak around to the corner bar. My father didn't drink. My father did drink, but he quit drinking. I was still young. Or maybe even before. No, I was young when he quit drinking. So, and he never drank again. He never slipped, never went off the wagon. My dad had a constitution that when he made his mind up, that was it. So, he used to go around the corner of the bar because they started to have those poker machines, and he would sit in there. I'm like, you're in here with all these people day drinking? And he's like, yeah, I just want to play the poker machine. All right? Okay. Let's get back to this, or we're never going to get done. Look how I dragged you right into it. We're never going to get done. Oh my. Look at you. I did contact Rosa. I bought a diamond painting. You guys, you had to see the way it came. I got the receipts for everything. So this video right now is going to be filled with pictures. You had to see the way that this came. I was on pins. First of all, it was a gift. And I was on pins and needles waiting for the guy to come. And they're like, you know, you could track your UPS driver. Here he comes. I see him on the Ring doorbell. I'm at the door. I'm at the door. I don't know where things are like in your town, but Philly is rough. I'm at the door. You know what he does? This is what he does. I'm at the door. It's like, oh, I've been waiting for this. He puts it down. He's got his scan. And he went, yeah, it's this one here. He leaves it on the bottom step and he walks away. And I looked at it and I went, what happened to the box? Keeps on walking. Just keeps on walking. The box looks like he wrestled it in the truck before he delivered it. Okay? So I called Rosa. Because then I was looking at it and I was like, I didn't call Rosa, you know that, right? I sent her an email. I said, Rosa, you know, we spend so much money on these diamond paintings. And now tariffs and everything else, shipping. I said, this is the way that this box arrived. And she's like, oh, I really appreciate you telling me. Do you want me to put in, like, damage with you? No, I could have did that, Rosa. I think that the problem was, and I showed her the pictures, that the box that it was put in was too big for the box that was inside. And there was no additional material in there to keep it steady. And, you know, they just throw boxes in the truck. It was crushed and whatever. And that's the way it was delivered. So she's like, you could send it back and I'll send you a new one. I'm like, I ain't got time for that. Nobody's got time for that. But I'm just so tired. I'm so tired of these delivery guys. You got Jeff Bezos floating in Venice and you can't train your people. Like, what do you have to do? Do you have to give them more money? What do you have to do to get them to have some pride in their job? I don't understand. What is going on? Please, because we're in the dark on this end as being the customers that you deliver to. Why don't you ring the bell? Why? Why don't you hand the package to the person, especially when they're at the door? They run off like they're being hunted by the mafia. I came in the door. You can hear me on the Ring doorbell. You can hear me on the Ring doorbell because when he handed me the package, my husband was sitting in the other room. And he heard me say, what happened to the box? And John is like, well, looks like they dumped a bunch of packages on top of this. And he's like, they just don't care. They just don't care. I'm like, what do you have to do, Jeff Bezos? Do you have to pay your people a little bit more money? How much money did you spend on this wedding? Last night. I'm like, why is everybody complaining about this wedding? The Venetians didn't want him there. Venice is falling into the water. They're already married. So this was just like a big, look at me. Come and celebrate my nuptials, even though I'm already married. We're just going to turn Venice into a playground. We really don't care. If it sinks, we'll be okay, because he probably had, you know, something for them to survive in. The last time my friend went to Venice, which was years ago, he was sitting in thigh-high rubber boots having a cappuccino. I'm like, what are you doing? The water is up to your waist, and you're sitting at the table, and it's just like, that's just the way that it is. Yeah, sit at the table having a cappuccino while Venice sinks. How do I get on this subject? Oh, my delivery. But anyway, I contacted Rosa, and she was very, very nice about it. Color, it's done. It can get put away. Adios, my friend. Thank you for the memories. We did our yard. We built a very huge awning, like an overhang in our yard, and he can go out there now, and we blocked it off so he can't get out, and that's all he wants to do. He wants to sit out there. We were out there early this morning, and I was like, oh John, it's getting so hot in here because of the overhang. Even though the sides are open, it gets really warm in there, which is going to be lovely when the weather gets cold. And I was like, let's go in. I'm like, Foofy must be dying because he's got this fur on him. Oh no, he wants to stay outside. He's laying underneath the bench like a mountain lion. He didn't want to come out. So and John is like, come on, like John thinks that he can reason with a cat. I don't know where he got this idea at. Come on, Foofy. I'm like, John, Foofy, come on. John. Yeah, I just keep saying John. He just keeps calling Foofy. I'm like, John, he's not going to listen to you. You have to motivate him. Here's his bag of treats. We'll just, no, he needs to listen to me. I'm like, that's it. I'm locking the door. I'm not standing near this door anymore while you try and argue with the cat. The cat is not moving. So after hearing after hearing Foofy 25 more times, I just went to the door and shook the bag, and he came in. He's like, why do you work harder than you have to? Why? See, now this is losing. This is my dilemma. I feel like if I put too much in, it overflows and gets this on the outside. But if I don't put enough in, I can't really grab the drills. And yesterday when I was in here working on Moon Eater, I came to a part that had a lot of AB drills, and I love my Art Dot Putty for AB drills because I can pick them up like this. It wasn't happening. They were revolting. Okay. Out came the gun. And I picked up my drills and dropped them in. And I was like, why am I bothering with this putty? Why am I bothering? That's what I did. And I got done. But I had a headache. When I left, I had a headache. I was like, I just stressed myself out for no reason. So that's what I'm using my drill, my e-drill for. Here, I just have a few more. Wow, this is probably going to get done. I'm getting excited now. I'm getting excited. I really wanted to finish this too, like on Self-Care Sunday. So this is like 37 minutes long. I could always just go into my own little thing and, you know, I go into my own little meditation here sometimes when I'm diamond painting. And I said, you know, the next time I kind of fall into that trance of diamond painting, I have to take a moment, and I know I had a couple of 9s that were, here they are, afterward, and be like, what were you thinking about? Were you thinking about anything? And, you know, really I'm not. I just kind of go into like a trance. You know, my breathing kind of levels out. My body temperature comes down. I'm running out of putty for that one. I didn't put enough in. And this one's got too much. Here we go. And I just kind of like, I don't know. don't know. I'm not really thinking about anything. I did too, because being that I'm going to Jersey tomorrow and I want to go early because I'm going to Jersey, and so is a lot of other people. They're going to the shore, or on the return home they're coming back from the shore. So I want to go, early, especially if it's going to be a nice day. People will spend a lot of time on the beach before they go like, oh, let's not get in the car. But yesterday was a weird day. It got like, I was walking around again with sweatpants on and my live jacket from the casino that I wear in the wintertime. I'm like, it's like freezing again. Now today it's humid again. And John was really, he kept saying, I'm going to go take a shower. And then I'm going to go for a walk. And he was going nowhere. He just wouldn't move. I'm like, honey, if you don't feel like doing anything, don't. He's like, yeah. I'm like, it's just one of those days where I just want to get in bed and I want to put something really good on TV. And we did that the other night. He knows I love Marilyn Monroe. He always wants to watch an old movie. I'm like, John, I don't like your old movie. I don't like Westerns and stuff. I just don't. So he's like, I know you love Marilyn Monroe. What's your favorite Marilyn Monroe movie? And I'm like, well, Bus Stop. I love Bus Stop. That was a good one. But I couldn't see him. Bus Stop was rather long. I couldn't see him sitting through that. I said, did you ever see Niagara? He's like, no. He's like, oh, he's got to pull it up. He's got to see who's in it. He knows all the actors. He knows their background. He's like, oh my God, this sounds so good. It's a thriller. I'm like, all right, put it on. He loved it. He's like, I didn't know Monroe made movies like this. I'm like, well, she's still the sex pot in the movie. He's like, yes, but I didn't know that she had this kind of like acting range. She was good. So the next night it was, there's nothing on. Hollywood to me is like dead. They're just dead. They have no imagination other than Tom Cruise doing his Mission Impossible. There's nothing that I'm looking forward to. Nothing. So I said, well, did you ever see Don't Bother to Knock? He's like, no, what's that? I'm like, well, Anne Bancroft is in it, and Richard Widmark. And he's like, what? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, she's a baby. She goes to a hotel to her job is to babysit. I didn't want to give too much away. I'm not giving you too much away in case you only know the sex pot roles that Monroe did, like Some Like It Hot, and what else did she do? Gentlemen Prefer Blonde, How to Marry a Millionaire. They're all funny. The 7-Year Itch. Oh, I love the 7-Year Itch. So he looks it up and he's like, what? He's looking at the description. And he's like, oh yeah. And it was like, it's a short movie. It's only about 75 minutes. Yeah. And I think it's Anne Bancroft is 20 years old. It's her first movie. And she sings in it. And Marilyn Monroe, I think, is 26. And so I was reading the reviews, and they had a little clipping from the paper of Anne Bancroft saying, the reporter had said, what was it like to work with Monroe? And she's like, when I saw the movie and saw how incredible she is, I start crying. Well, I've seen this movie maybe once. I didn't see it all the way through. No, I don't think I've ever seen this movie all the way through. And let me tell you, by the time the ending came around, I'm crying. John is like moving around in his seat because he's finding it all very emotional. He was like, that was such a good movie. I'm like, wasn't it? She was like incredible. I think they still say it was one of her best movies. One of her best movies. So good. So good. So it was that kind of day yesterday. I just wanted to like get in bed and like just stay there. And I was like, I can't. I might be retired. And, but I still have, for as much as I enjoy diamond painting, there's still work behind it. You know what I mean? And I don't want to get behind. But, oh, we had a good time watching movies the past couple of days. You should really put in the comments what you guys have watched that's been really good. Because John and I are like just so perplexed. I'm like, I think 99.9% of the time, John and I are watching YouTube. I don't even know why I bother having, well, that's not true. I watch a lot of movies on Tubi. I always find good movies on Tubi. Always. And we watched one, we got up early in the morning. I was on my vibration plate. I have a vibration plate if I didn't tell you guys. I was on my vibration plate, and I'll just pop something on YouTube and like watch like a 10-minute commentary, unless I want to stay on for like 20 minutes, then I'll watch 2. So I'm on the vibration plate, and I was like, you know what, I'm not going to go to YouTube. I'm getting like a monkey, like, you know, do the same thing every morning. I'm not putting this on. I'm going to put on Tubi. He's at the door. Yes, dear. Oh, hello. It's the sun. So Joshy is on. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this last part, the X's, to finish my painting and go into my self-care Sunday, because I opened the book to do my reading this morning, and which I did, and then when I was done, the book opened up to a reading. I think it's on August the 1st. I don't even know what the reading is about, but I kind of like looked at it really quickly, and I usually don't do my reading before I do Self-Care Sunday. I kind of like come in, we have like a little bit of a chat, and then I do the reading, and it always like comes around to like whatever it was I was talking about before I started the reading. Usually it's just like magic sometimes, you know? Whatever I was talking about usually falls into what the reading is. So I did look at the reading for Sunday, and I never do that. And I kind of felt like I was off. So I went to go shut the book, and it opened up to August the 1st. And I said, well, I'm going to do this reading. Because I feel like, I just like, I don't read it because I don't want it to be in my head that this was the reading for today, and try and make it fit into what it is that I'm doing prior to the reading. Does that make sense? I don't want the reading influencing me in any way. I want it to be something that's very natural, organic, you know? And it always is. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I talk about this and that. Here we are. We're talking about that. So what I'm going to do, being that I need the air on now because it's so humid in here, is I'm going to go quiet. And then I'm going to finish this, and it's going to go into Self-Care Sunday. And I think I'll just blend them together. So it'll be like a WIP Chat, Self-Care Sunday. This is the way it goes here, kids. This is the way that I am. This is the way that it goes. I fly by the seat of my pants all the time. And I was just talking about how I was getting a little trance. Really, you can't help but get a little trance, like, in this room when it starts getting humid like that in here. It's kind of like, oh God, you want to stay in here? Well, then you just better put the air on, be quiet, and do a voiceover, because it's just too hot to do anything else. And who knows? Who knows? Maybe this August 1st reading will have something to do with what I've already talked about. Who knows? I will say, I was on Instagram this morning. I don't know why. I usually reserve Instagram for nighttime, because I think that there are such funny things on Instagram that I usually look at Instagram at night. And usually I run into Lizette because she's getting up and having her coffee, and I'm trying to unwind to go to bed, and we'll get a chance to say hello to one another. And this one, well, me and John like to look at the funny cat videos. This one video came across my Instagram, and it was of a girl running a rollerblade race, and she spun out. She looked like a young girl. She spun out, and she fell behind, and they were like a good 3/4 of a lap ahead of her, and she just kept going. She just kept going. She just kept skating, and all of a sudden she's passing one girl, then two, then three, and I'm like, look at this young girl. Just keep your eye on the goal. Just keep moving forward. Don't look over your shoulder. Just keep doing what you're doing. And I just thought that she was just going to finish the race, like, hey, okay, I spun out, I fell behind, I can't catch up. Like that would have been my thinking. Look at how far ahead they are. Not her. She just kept her head down. She just kept skating, and she started making up that time. And it was so inspiring and so incredible to see that. To, you know, just stay in your own lane. Stay in your own lane. Keep pushing. Just keep going forward. Don't look behind you. Let's see if I can get a link on that. I didn't save it, that I know. But I will. Maybe I can go back into my history and see if I can find it. It's just so remarkable, that type of spirit, where it's like, hey, you know what? And usually that's very hard to do, because you're usually not just skating for yourself. You're usually skating for some kind of benefit, or some kind of organization, or, you know, your country, or whatever it is. You're usually not in a competition like that, skating for yourself. So, but she just kept her head about, just kept going forward. I'm like, it just fills me up when I see something like that, you know. It's really kind of like this painting, because I put this painting away a few times and really thought, you know, I didn't think that it was too big for me, but I kind of like have other things that I want to do, and you know what? They're going to be there. They're going to be there. You know, they're not going to disappear. So many things get discontinued, and then you go on hunting for them, and then, you know, you'll take that canvas out when you're ready for it, and just like Woman in Gold. I didn't want to do Woman in Gold on camera, because I thought, oh, everybody's so sick and tired of this canvas. Do you know how many people went out and bought that canvas? Because they, first of all, couldn't believe it was diamond dots. So there's always somebody to reach. And they couldn't believe, like, all the enhancements that were on it. And so there's always someone to reach. There's always a new person coming into the fold. Like me, when I saw Katie do that canvas, I was like, oh, I can't wait until I'm good enough to do that canvas. I can't wait until I'm that experienced to do Woman in Gold. She's so beautiful. And, you know, I forgot about her. And then one day, there she was. And I was like, oh my God, Woman in Gold. Because I remember Katie saying, when she did it, and she may have done it for one of her Summer with the Masters. I remember Katie saying that I really thought I was going to get tired of all this brown and gold, but I didn't. It was so interesting to do, and I felt the same way. You don't get tired of that canvas. 2 of my members are doing it. Not only are they doing it, they went and got the DVD. With Helen Mirren, who plays Marie Altman. It was actually her husband's. It was actually the Woman in Gold is Adele. I've heard her name same Block Bauer, and it was her husband. It was his niece that took the fight to Vienna to say, this belongs in New York. It belongs with us, with her family. And what was so interesting too, John and I were watching a movie, and I'm like, oh, they're at the New Gallery on Prince Street in New York, because Woman in Gold was hanging on the wall. So I am at 55 minutes here. I am going to go silent. And I am going to then do a voiceover. And this beauty will be done. I can't believe it. I'm actually getting a little emotional that she's going to be done. She's going to be done. Oh, wow. Okay, guys. So, I don't know, do I want to read the reading first? No, I don't want to read it because the air conditioner's on. Okay, so I'm going to finish this and then we'll get into Self-Care Sunday. Wow. So let Self-Care Sunday begin. Here's a little tip. The future me, which is Sunday morning right now. I think it's the future me, the present me. I'm not sure. That always confuses me. But I actually did not realize how long this video was going, and I love it because there's still more to add to this video. But I went to stand up. I'm like, I can raise my table and stand up for the last maybe 5 minutes of putting the drills in, and I looked up and there was 3 seconds left on the video of space for me to record. So talk about divine intervention. Had I continued to sit, I would have put those last 30, 40, maybe even 50 drills in, and none of it would have been recorded. So I had to sit down, I had to start editing, and I had to make space for the rest of this video, which is Sunday morning. And yes, she is done. And yes, you're going to get a good look at her. And I will tell you, I totally forgot whatever it was that I was saying yesterday for Self-Care Sunday. I think I was saying something like, oh, I don't think I'm going to read Self-Care Sunday because it's in my head. Well, it is gone. I couldn't even tell you what the title of it was. And the book did open up to August 1st. And I'm thinking, you know, it's such a long video. Maybe I should just do both. Or should I just do what I said I was going to do and let music play? I did mark this in my book. I am downstairs. I am so grateful not to be in my room because it's hot, and so grateful to all of you for, you know, there's like maybe about 5 or 10 minutes where my air conditioner is on in the back because my son interrupted. Thank God, another divine intervention. He never, if he doesn't come by my house by 2:30, I don't see him. And it was almost like 6 o'clock. And he came in and I was like, I thought it was John. I was like, here he is. He's interrupting. And it was my baby. And when he was standing through the open door talking to me, and he let all the cool air out, and I was like, I have to put this air conditioner back on, but this is going to be a good time to break and, you know, start Self-Care Sunday. So, like, talk about divine intervention, like I said. So I think I was also telling you guys in the beginning, was it in the beginning of this video or maybe yesterday's video, that I am going to be having my first ever event diamond painting in October. And I'm going to let my members know about this because this is going to be a member event for a number of reasons. I'll do a community post, and then if you're thinking about joining my channel, this might be a good time to do it because there's going to be a lot that's included with the member event only that I'm going to have in October. Okay, so I think part of what I was thinking was when I opened the book to June 29th, I was like, this would make a lovely reading for my event. I think that was another thing that was stuck in my head. And I just thought, I closed it. I'm like, now this is my head. Now I'm thinking about my event. I'm not gonna be in the moment. It's very important for me to be in the moment because the present moment is the unknown. And this is where you can get to do what you want to do with each of your present moments that are happening right now. Now's the present moment. Now's the present moment. So the present moment is unknown. We kind of know what our past is about. Well, not that we kind of know. We know what our past is about. We kind of know what our future is about if we have plans, but you know how that goes, right? You know what I'm always telling you guys. My grandmother told me, make plans and God laughs. My grandmother also always said, God willing. God willing. And I do that now, and I drive John up the wall. God willing, God willing. I'm like, yes, God willing. I can make all the plans that I want, but God willing, he might have a bigger plan for me, which I know he does. And, he might throw a monkey wrench into, like, you think that this is a plan? I got better plans for you. So just sit down. So that's why. That really is why I don't plan. I know that you have to, and it does make me anxious sometimes, but I know that there's a bigger plan for me if I just stay in the unknown of the present moment. Okay. So reading this yesterday, when I was reading June 28th, which was Saturday, All That We Are Not by Father Thomas Keating, I kind of went and sashayed over to June 29th. So I will tell you what June 28th was, because I also think that this is something that I have it bookmarked. It's something that I'm going to bring into the event that I'm having in October. Discernment, it's called All That We Are Not. Discernment is a process of letting go of what we are not. I can easily over-identify with my emotions and roles, becoming what I feel. I am angry. I am divorced. I am depressed. I am a failure. I am nothing but my confusion and my sadness. No matter how we feel in any one moment, we are not just our feelings, our roles, our traumas, our prescription of values, or our obligation or ambitions. It is so easy to define ourselves by the moment of struggle we are wrestling with. It is a very human way to be consumed by what moves through us. And this is what I was just talking about. The present moment. When you are stuck in these emotions of what you are feeling. I am angry. I am divorced. It had to be something from your past that made you angry. Your divorce is something of your past. You're depressed because of, again, something that has happened, and this is the emotion that you're coming up with it. So no matter how we feel at any one moment, we're not our feelings. And my husband taught me this when we first started dating, and I was like this, the reason why John came to my door that day, he had a day off, and he was traveling into the Italian market, because that's what he did on his day off. He would travel to the Italian market on a Sunday, and he would go and get all the things that he needed to cook for himself for the week. And he was going by my home, and he was like, I have not seen Elisa around. I'm going to go knock on the door. And this is not unusual for John. He will knock on people's door. He's not calling you and telling you he's coming over. He's going to surprise you. And I was probably in the worst spiraling that I had ever been in my life. I was basically living on my sofa with a tequila in my hand. And I was normalizing that, well, if it's 10 o'clock in the morning and I was out to brunch, I could have a tequila. The time that I would be drinking just became earlier and earlier. But what was also happening was I was isolating myself, because I knew I had a huge decision to make. I just could not argue anymore with a person that was never going to give me the answers that I was seeking, and was not even there to say, like, why are you so wrapped up in these emotions of having to know this? Just know that I'm your partner. Know that I'm here for you. Know that I'm taking care of things. I didn't have that from him. I just had a lot of confusion. And when I heard a knock at my door, I was, probably in pajamas that I was in for the week. My house was a mess. I didn't have TV on. I didn't have music on. I wasn't listening to an audiobook. I was sitting on the sofa with a tequila, crying most of the day about about where my life was, about how devalued I felt, about how I, nobody noticed. Like, everybody was just breezing by me. Nobody stopped to say, like, hey, how long have you been on the sofa? It was just that's the kind of relationship that I had. And I heard a knock at my door. I'm like, oh, it's probably the mailman or something. And I was able to open my doors, and I had French doors, and the blinds were slightly open. And I'm looking, and I'm like, that looks like John Pescator. Why is he at my door? And I didn't want to open the door, but I knew that he had heard the inside door open, and I knew that he had heard me. And so I opened the door. And I was like, what are you doing here? He's like, where the hell have you been? Is Mike home? I'm like, no, he's in New York. He's like, can I come in? I'm like, yeah, I guess. You know, like, I was just so out of it. He's like, what are you doing? Like, where have you been? Like, and John does not get involved with anybody as far as like asking them, you know, what's the problem or whatever. But I think this was when I had seen him drive down my street and he blew the horn. And then I texted him. I was like, you made my day today, because for that one split second that I waved at him and felt this moment of joy of seeing somebody that is always happy, always with the big smile, always with the arms wide open. And after I saw him, I went inside and felt that depression coming over me. And I was like, no, you can change this. Get yourself together and go to yoga. So in that present moment, I had a choice to create something, go back on the sofa with my tequila, or get myself together and go to yoga. And then after that, I had texted him and said, you made my day today. Because he did. He made my day. Just coming down the street, just waving, just being happy, go lucky like he is, and smiling and taking me out of my moment where I'm outside in my neighborhood, walking back and forth down the street, screaming at people that I knew that this was a bad deal. I knew that this was going to fall through. And then my son was being affected. And that's what really pushed me over the edge, because I was taking it all in. I was just being the sponge and absorbing it until they went after my son. And then it was let me tell you, it was a warning that they had better back off and lay off of my kid. So yeah, you know, all that, you know, this is where you create your present moment. You're not your feelings. That's what I was saying with John. When we finally did, you know, he came over and he was like, why don't you come down 9th Street with me? I'm gonna go shop. I didn't want to do anything. And he's like, all right, Elisa, you know, I was just checking in on you. This is not like you. If you ever need someone to talk to, I'm here. And I was just like, okay, all right, bye. You know, that kind of a thing. And I went back to just being, you know, depressed. And it was coming towards the holiday. I think I had the Christmas tree in the middle of the floor in a box. I brought it up, but I didn't do anything with it. Had it not been for my son and his then girlfriend, it would have never went up. And I was having people coming over for the holiday. And I had actually invited John to stop over. He's like, no, I don't do Christmas. I spend it with my mother. But he did actually pop in. I said, listen, my brother's going to be here. You haven't seen my brother in years. And he was like, maybe I'll come. That's his, well, you might see me, but if you don't, I did say maybe. But he did show, and he did want to see my brother, and he did want to say hello to my family. And I was out in the yard with my girlfriend. What was I doing? I was drinking. That's what I was doing. It was a bad time, really bad time. But when we did finally start to talk more, because he was not seeing the girl that he knew, and he wanted to help. And out of all my friends, he was the one that said, listen, Elisa, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that you and Mike are on opposite ends of whatever is going on. He said, you could see that as soon as you walk into your house. As soon as I walk into your house, I could tell you what side of the house that Mike lives in and what side of the house that you live in, even as far as how the way your home is decorated. I know what you put into this home, and I know what he put into this home. It's just such a stark contrast. So I did start to talk to him. And then my other friends, when they finally found out what was going on about, you know, the demise of my marriage, and they were like, oh my God, you know, like they knew, but they just respected my privacy, and they knew that I was not one to talk about my personal life. And they just were like, thank God this is now out in the open and we can take care of you. Like, we didn't want to get involved where, you know, if you weren't saying anything, you're a married woman, we're not going to get involved with your marriage, and we're not going to, you know, we like Mike also, and so we don't want to say anything because we might be wrong, but they knew. But John was the one that made the leap and said, hey, you know, I'm here, if you want to talk. And again, he was the one that taught me that your feelings are not tools of cognition. Your feelings are your feelings, they're your emotions, they have a place, but you don't use them to solve problems. You use your mind. So, in contrast, I often think of how Michelangelo sculpted, how he saw the sculpture waiting, already complete, in the uncut stone. He would often say that his job was to carve away the excess, freeing the thing of beauty, just waiting to be released. That's a calling, a vision. I think when you have, like Michelangelo, looking at a slab of marble and saying, I know what that could be, and I'm the creator, and I'm going to create that. It helps me to think of spiritual discernment in this way, facing ourselves, uncovering the meaning in our hard experiences. The entire work of consciousness speaks to a process by which we sculpt away the excess, all that we are not, finding and releasing the gesture of soul that is already waiting, complete within us. That is what happened during my teacher training. So I'm even going further back into my past. I had already begun to cut away these things that I knew were really not me. Really, what am I arguing about? Do I have a stake in some things? Yeah, but not everything. And then I started to really let go, where I'm living in Philadelphia, but the work is in New York, and I'm going to work remotely because all this bullshit with your family and whatever it is that you're hiding from me, I can't put my energy here anymore. I started to carve out who I wanted to be, and I began my teacher training in yoga, and that really is peeling away a lot of people that you yourself are not. We wear a multitude of hats, and a lot of them I just put in a box and I just never looked at again. Self-actualization is the process applied to our life on earth. The many ways we suffer, both inward and outward, are the chisels of God, freeing the thing of beauty that we have carried within since birth. And then the exercise was to, just to sit with yourself and feel any of the troubles that you are going through. And just as you breathe, to just move them away from you and just accept what stillness comes. For me, when I was carving away this excess during my teacher training, or even before that, going to a yoga class, and then you leave everything on the mat. You leave the emotions that come up, you leave the blood, the sweat, and the tears that you have gone through a 90-minute class, and then you lay down in Shavasana, and I would always cry in Shavasana. I would feel tears rolling down the side of my face, down my temple, into my ear, just letting this go and wanting to be somewhere else, because I had to go back into my home that was causing where all the turmoil and tension were, after shedding this skin and finding this stillness. And then how do I keep this center? Because I did feel like a very big expansion. Like I just felt unfurled. I felt like my wings had finally, I released this tightness that I had been living with since my last yoga class. And that's when I started to get up every morning and go to yoga. Just go to yoga. I didn't care. I talked myself out of it every morning. I'm not going. As I walked there, I'm not going. As I got a cup of coffee, I'm not going. As I walked into the place, took off my shoes, I'm not going. I'm not going to stay. I'm not staying. And then I think it was just knowing that this was my home, my real home, and then having to go back to a situation that I just didn't know how to change. That all had yet to come. So that was the beginning of the carving away. There was still a lot more to go. Kind of like a summer with the master. That was 20. My girlfriend just said to me, it's 10 years since we went through teacher training. So that was 2015. That was the summer with the Masters edition, 2015. That was me carving away at the marble and, putting it away. The event's over. You got to put it away for 2016. And going through another few restaurants, another few, trying to create something to give myself purpose in a world that I really didn't want to be in. I really didn't. I don't talk about my past, but anytime we go anywhere, my husband will say, oh, my wife is pizza royalty. I don't bring it up. I don't want to talk about it. That's my past. I don't want to talk about it. And people are like, oh, really? Oh, and like 9 times out of 10, when he says this, that person has been to Lombardi's. And I kind of left that all behind me. And I would always say, if I never hear the word Lombardi's again, or I never see another piece of pizza, I'm not going to miss it. So I really carved the marble. God, I love that. I love that. So June 29th went into a little fish story. The instant fish accept that they will never have arms, they grow fins. I don't even remember reading that yesterday, probably because I was, I'm getting done this canvas today. That's where my mind was. Oh my God, the instant fish accept that they will never have arms, they grow fins. I confess I was surprised to wake one day with this knowing about fish. Oh my God. I always wonder, because I love the way Mark Nepo writes. And I wonder sometimes, like, it's just an ordinary moment that these writings come out of, right? Was he fishing, when he made this discovery that fish accept that they'll never have arms? It's kind of like Ariel accepting that she'll never have legs. After living with it a while, I've come to feel that it holds another key to faith, that before we can be what we are meant to be, we must accept what we are not. And that's just what I said. I carved away, I put a lot of hats away. This is not who I am. I'm not happy here in this environment. I'm a fish out of water. Oh my God. This form of discernment asks us to let go of those grand fantasies that take us out of our nature, that make us work to be famous instead of loving, or perfect instead of compassion. And I will admit, it was a little bit of a high to be part of that family, because in New York, just like Frankie says, if I can make it here, I can make it anywhere. And that restaurant is iconic. It is the first pizzeria in the United States. All the other pizzerias that followed, Grimaldi's, Pat's, John's, were trained by Gennaro Lombardi. He is the grandfather of pizza, as he is known. And I love the Lombardi family. I love them. I got, the great grandson of Lombardi's was still very, very much part of our world. And I love Jerry. I love Gennaro. He came down to all my restaurants. I loved having conversations with him. He's one of the most interesting people you'd ever want to meet and talk to. I love the Lombardi family. I love the history. If you go to Lombardi's on Instagram, that's all my work in there. All that graphic design, all the history. You guys know how I run my channel. I don't just paint a diamond painting. I go down that rabbit hole of who the artist is and how they got started and what influences them and inspires them. So that's all me. That was all me. And I had big ideas for that place. There was so much of the history that I thought was lacking from my ex-husband's family taking over the business. But they wanted to bury that history. They didn't want that. And that was the crime there. It's probably why I didn't feel really that I was happy there. You know, I like digging into history. I don't like burying history. I don't like putting things away where, you know, they don't, like they never happened. You're always going to repeat them. You know, going down a different vein there, but so I did have to let go of the fantasy that I was actually a part of something big, because that wasn't even what it was anymore anyway. They had carved something totally different out. And now, today, you don't even hear the name Lombardi. You don't even hear it. You know, the graphic designer is gone. That was me. The person with the history and the person writing the stories, she's gone. Anytime they came in to do an article on us, they would ask to use the content that was on Instagram or on the Facebook page. And they wouldn't even give me credit that it was my work. I mean, this is how invisible I was and how taken advantage I was. And, you know, I just wanted to be a part of something. And I had to go out and carve my own path, which I did. And I became very happy in New York, which is why I was heartbroken when I started to do the things that made me happy. And I was making as much money as my ex-husband a week as he was making doing a 7-day-a-week job, 24 hours on call. I would make what he made in a week by teaching 4 hours of art. So I'm not saying that to brag. I give you all when I come here and do this work of Self-Care Sunday. I give you all because I want you to carve your marble. I want you to let go and to do what makes you happy. Find your happiness. The fame will come after. The money, whatever it is, that all comes after. Just do what you love. Yet the instant we can accept what is not in our nature, rather than being distracted by all we think we could or should be, then all our inner resources are free to transform us into the particular self we are aching to be. Oh God, it's such a beautiful feeling when you become what your soul, when those wings unfurl that I was talking about, when you give that inner voice a platform. Because really, when you're doing yoga, okay, and you can't run away, you can't pick up the cell phone, you can't be distracted, you got to sit in those feelings. You know, you could maybe get up and say, I have to use the bathroom. Yeah, of course, because that's meeting your edge. And when you meet your edge, you could dive into it, or you could say, you know what, I got to pull back. And that neither answer is wrong. But a lot of the times, if you sit with it, and you work through it, and you write it down, or you maybe doodle something or create a piece of art, just something that allows the inner you to unfurl what is so tight and constricted and absorbing all this bullshit around you that doesn't matter. Do the things that matter. Okay, Johnny just walked in the front door. I had to wait for him to get settled. This act of acceptance is a risk that frees us because we can't find the growth that awaits us until we give up what is against our very nature. Boy, hindsight really is 2020. It is this surrender without knowing what will happen next that allows our lives to truly unfold. The present moment is the unknown. Sit quietly and allow your true nature to rise within you. And that's sitting with yourself, asking, listening, and capture it. Maybe you don't write. Maybe you take your cell phone out. Maybe you do an auto recording like I'm doing right now, and you just talk. I love going for a walk. I did that a lot in my past. I would go for a walk. I would have my cell phone in my hand, and I would, what did I used to call that? I think I was starting to use it as a journal prompt, like just things that were coming up. But then it became like an audio journal. I can't remember the exact words that I used for that. But when you have movement and you have thoughts, they kind of sync up together, so your thoughts are not so racy and they're not so like you're trying to capture everything. Sometimes when I'm writing, I can't capture everything that is going through my brain because it's like rapid fire. But if I go for a walk, my thoughts catch up to the pace that I am walking, and I could just talk. I don't have to worry about my hand getting tired. I don't have to worry about the pen running out of ink. The other day I sat down to journal, and who was I with? Oh, I can't remember. And I turned around and I said, the life of a writer. I just took one pen and threw it away, and I took another pen and threw it away. They're both out of ink, and now I'm looking for the third pen. And then your thoughts are escaping you because you're just trying to get them down. But I love that feeling too, of like throwing a pen away and you look at it and there's no ink left in it, and it makes me sit there and take a pause and say, wow, like look at how many words I have written that both these pens are out of ink. Without trying to name it or understand it, simply close your eyes and breathe it into your hands. Now that's a beautiful thought. To allow your true nature, because what do you do with your hands? You create with your hands. So having that true nature come up and breathing it into your hands. I'm visualizing doing this myself. And like, if you're breathing it into your hands, what's the next thing that you do? You close your hands in prayer. Oh, I really like that. Breathe evenly and allow your true nature to find gestures in your hands. Breathe evenly and allow your true nature to find gestures in your hands. Well, I just did a gesture, which was closing my hands in prayer. Well, the second thing that I did was bring my hands to my heart. And I'm going to try that exercise again. And the next thing that comes up for me is opening my hands and holding my face in my hands. Because my fingers are touching my forehead, and I always think of my forehead as like a movie screen. Anytime that I sit down to do any kind of meditation, it's not the back of my eyes that I consider a movie screen. I'm not looking through my closed eyes for what I'm visualizing. I literally visualize in what's behind my forehead, which is your third eye, that spiritual center. And that's why I wanted to hold my head in my hands, not to, when you think of someone holding their head in their hands, it's usually grief or sorrow. But I also wanted to breathe back in that nature that I breathed out into my hands. closing my hands individually doesn't feel good. I wanted to see if when I closed my right hand and my left hand, would one feel differently than the other? I'm kind of going down that road of left brain, right brain. Like, do I feel a tingling sensation in either one of these hands? But I don't feel anything. Keeping it separate, I don't feel anything. It's almost like the dream has to be held by two hands. I'm not hanging on. I think of hanging on when it's just one hand. I feel like there's something missing. Oh, interesting. So during your day, play with these gestures. During your day, play with these gestures of, I think I do one of these gestures anyway. When I sit down to do anything, I always gather myself. I gather what I need, whether it's writing, watercolor, shipping a box out, and especially when I am sitting down to create my diamond art. I sit down, I look at where I've been, I look at where I'm going, I look at what I want to use, I get my tools in front of me. Yeah. And I really am sitting in a moment of a little prayer, a little meditation. I think I'm always aware that I'm being guided, and so I take a moment to call the muses. Hello, I'm here at my desk. Please come visit me. And John does that too. John does that also. He even has it written on his blackboard. He has a message to the muses to be in that room with him. I had only noticed that just recently that he has that. He has a little shelf in his room that opens and closes, and it's a blackboard. And he that's what he writes. That's what he has written on there in chalk. So now that I told you what I read yesterday and did today's reading, and I don't even remember reading today's reading yesterday and then thought that it was going to influence me, probably because I didn't understand it at the time that I read it. I think I have a deeper understanding of these readings when I am in the process of creating. I kind of marry the two together, or maybe it's just that I know that you are listening, and I want to marry the two things together that you're doing as a way for you to have it like an example within your diamond painting, that there's more going on there than just putting down 112,000 drills. You got to have some kind of motivation to do that, to place 112,000 drills down. And I am looking at where that other, why I thought, well, I'll just read August the 1st. So funny because now it opened up to, what did it just open up to? And I just mentioned Ariel. August the 2nd is called The Mermaid. I'm just going to read because it's from Yeats. A mermaid found a swimming lad, picked him for her own, pressed her body to his body, laughed, and plunged down, forgot in cruel happiness that even lovers drown. I just felt like I had to read that to you. I don't know why. Maybe you're diamond painting a mermaid. So it's really interesting that August the 1st, which is more than a month away, is called, and it has a lotus on top of it. I don't know that Mark Nepo actually puts any kind of graphic. Oh, is that a graphic there? Let me see. Is there a graphic here? I just see another graphic. I don't think I've ever really seen a graphic atop of any of the readings that I've done. So this is a lotus, and then it says, I don't see any other graphics. That's weird. And then it says August 1, the pain of becoming. Oh gosh. You really can't make this up. You can't. When you are aware that you're being guided. The pain of becoming. For the flower, it is fully open at each step of its blossoming. And what was I talking about? Like unfurling your wings, but I also had an image of a flower. What is that? The saying, anis nin, you know, to stay tight as a bud. You have to unfurl, and flowers don't bloom rapidly because I don't think that they would hold the beauty that they hold. They unfurl very slowly. I'm actually looking at the video for the first time. I love the tapping of the fingernails here. I did leave a little low volume on because I love my rain pen. Am I using my rain pen? I'm not even using my rain pen. What am I doing? I'm being guided is what I'm doing. We do ourselves a great disservice by judging where we are in comparison to some final destination. Well, let's just go back to that story, and I almost edited it out. The story of the young woman that was rollerblading. If she would have focused on the final destination, judging where she was in comparison to where everyone else was, she would have been all locked up in her head. I have to find that video on Instagram and I have to put it up because it's so inspiring. This is one of the pains of aspiring to become something. The stage of development we are in is always seen against the imagined landscape of what we are striving for. Yes, the stage of development we are in is always seen against the imagined landscape of what we are striving for. So where we are, though closer all the time, is never quite enough. I'm having a few things run through my brain right now because I'm thinking about the reading about Michelangelo and carving the stone, but I'm also thinking about what my grandmother used to say about making plans and God laughing and God willing, because I think we're talking more about here like an inner spirit, like a guiding. This is not, for me, this reading, this is not where you're lost and striving to be something. You kind of have a vision. And I remember listening to Jelanja Van Zandt, and she said, if you have a vision, God is going to give you the provision. And that stuck with me because there are people around you that will wonder why you're doing what you're doing. They're going to be critical and they're going to judge. But if you have a vision for what it is that you're doing, they are one of the people that get carved away. They're one of the people that fall by the wayside. And you have the provision because you have that inner spirit, like the rollerblader, like Michelangelo. The simple rose at each moment of its slow blossoming is as open as it can be. Yep, in that moment, it's as open as it can be. The same is true of our lives. In each stage of our unfolding, we are as stretched as possible. That's a beautiful visual there. If you just think of where you are in the moment, not where you're looking to go, you are now, you have to replenish. You have to, and that's what Shavasana is. You do the work on the mat. You leave the sweat and the blood and the tears and the laughter and the challenges. But then you're as stretched as you can be, and you have to rest. You have to go into a corpse pose. You have to bury the dead that you were, because you're a totally different person now. And you have to arise from that mat replenished and renewed and totally different. But you got to take that moment to let that all, as we say here in South Philly, marinate. You got to let it marinate. You got to let it into your bones, into the marrow. It helps to see ourselves as flowers. If a flower were to push itself to open faster, which it can't, it would tear. I didn't know that. Yet we humans can and often do push ourselves, and we do tear. We do have that break where it's just too much. It's too much. And we have that break. Often we tear in places no one can see. When we push ourselves to unfold faster or more deeply than is natural, we thwart ourselves. For nature takes time. And most of our problems of will stem from impatience. Oh, yay. Which I try and mask as moral ambition. Before my experience with cancer, I was sorely driven as an artist. I pushed myself greatly. I think the creative impulse was deep and irrepressible in me, and ultimately healthy. But it was my secret need to achieve some sort of greatness that made me press until something began to rip. And we just talked about that in the previous chapter, about the goal, about your eye being on the fame or the greatness and not on the joy of what you're doing. He had great joy for what he was doing. It was irrepressible. But then it made him press into wanting something that kind of fell by the wayside, I would imagine. It was the unending, relentless push to measure up. Oh, that's sad. And quickly, again, some imagined form of myself that made the flower of my mind tear. I do not believe that people bring cancer on themselves, but I do believe that wherever we weaken ourselves, that part will give way to illness first. It was not by accident that the cancer struck the creative side of my brain. Perhaps one of the hardest remedies to accept for our pain of becoming is that wherever we are in our path, no matter how flawed or incomplete, is a blossoming unto itself. However much we've done, at the end of the day, is more than enough. It is a dream becoming truth. Wow. I think, wow. I mean, I think that this went perfectly with the last two readings. I think that we have some great visualizations from the readings of sitting with ourselves. My girlfriend Denise said that to me all the time. Elisa, go sit with yourself. Go take a walk, my grandmother would say. All these wise women that I'm sharing with you. Yeah. And get clear. And then breathe that vision into your hands to where you create. And think of yourself as a flower. Is that why the Dalai Lama sat with a flower? I don't think I've ever understood that. Or if it has been understood, or if he explained it. But now when I think about the flower taking so long to become, I don't even know how long he sat with that flower. I've heard that it was a long time. And maybe, I don't know, maybe he was witnessing for himself the increment moments that the flower was blooming. I love those time-lapse videos of the flower blooming. It's probably the only way you're going to see a flower bloom quickly. But I love that visualization of thinking yourself, and that, you know, you stretched yourself enough for today. And now it's time to just sit back and look at the beauty. Maybe go out and get yourself some flowers today, or sit with flowers. That would be a lovely thing to do. Sit with flowers today. So close your eyes and meditate on a simple yellow rose that is budding. Well, me and Mark are on the same page here. A simple yellow rose. I was thinking of one of my students that had one of her signs was a yellow butterfly. That's what it was. Breathe fully and do not wait for the rose to fully open to see its beauty. It's beautiful in its own moment right now. It stretches as much as it can be, and it's beautiful in its own moment. Rather, focus on the yellow petals about to open and see their beauty now. I'm just visualizing this as I take a moment to watch and see what I'm doing. I'm picking out, you know, my drills that I mixed together over here. Kind of going with the flow. I don't bother to sort them anymore. I just kind of diamond paint 2 colors at the same time, but now this is it. And we do take moments to pause, don't we, when we're diamond painting a section? We do take time to run our hands over the area that we just diamond painted, to feel it again with the hands that created it. And then we kind of like absorb it through our fingertips again. We kind of admire the beauty, looking at the area that we just drilled. Breathe deeply and look upon yourself as such a rose. Do not wait for some imagined end to see your own beauty, like a diamond painting, or like the the girl that was rollerblading. Don't wait until the end to really see the beauty. That's probably what makes that so inspiring, is that you can see this young rollerblader. You can see her beauty unfolding as she just stays in each moment of each stroke of the arms cutting through the wind, and rollerblading. Just every moment that she took was so inspiring, just watching her with the vision of getting to that destination. But we do that with our diamond paintings. We could just take a moment and be like, okay, before I admire the beauty of what's to come, let me admire the beauty of where I've been so far. And then take that and bring it into your own life. No matter what struggle that you're going through, or whatever challenge that you're going through. Even happy times have their moments that you step back and you kind of feel that little twinge of sadness, because it doesn't last. We know that it's not going to last, but for some reason we don't do that with sadness. We say things like, this too shall pass. But in that moment of happiness, something grabs at us and it's like, oh, I wish I could be happy like this all the time. But we don't have that same vision for when we're going through our challenges. And maybe this is a good visualization to have. I am a rose and I've bloomed as far as I can for today. And tomorrow I'll bloom a little bit more. But for right now, in this moment that is unknown, I'm going to create a moment of gratitude for where I've been, and just relax in that beauty. Breathe deeply and look upon yourself as such a rose. Do not wait for some imagined end to see your own beauty. Rather, inhale and appreciate the beauty of yourself about to open. You have a little mystery, a little surprise waiting for you. Ooh, what's to come? I didn't expect this today. I really didn't. When I was editing this video and I stopped at 45 minutes because that's when I had stopped the kind of WIP and chat and vlog part of this video, and I was like, I have how much time here? An hour and 51 minutes? And what am I going to talk about? What about if this reading doesn't, I go down the what if road, and I really was not expecting this to be for me as inspiring as it was. And I didn't remember the reading when I read it yesterday because I wasn't working it. But I will tell you, next time I see a fish, I'm going to wonder, when was that moment that I realized that the fish realized that he didn't have arms, that he accepted the fact that he has fins? I will remember the story of Michelangelo. I think Fufi is tired of me talking because he's decided that he's going to go onto his scratching post and make it known that he's had just about enough. Well, that's because John is home. And John went directly upstairs because he knew that I was doing Self-Care Sunday. And he wanted to give me that space for the next half hour before I had to go to my mom's. I'm still not done. I know that this is coming to an end here. But what you guys don't know is that I, did a nice little recording of the finish of this beautiful yellow rose here. Of Night's Rest. I'm going to have to send that off to Rosa, too. I don't think that Rosa has a presence on YouTube. I don't even know if she has a presence on Instagram. But I'm going to have to send this off to her and show her how beautiful it is. A small clip to kind of alchemize the recording and the photos that I sent her yesterday of the box that my UPS guy wrestled before he brought it here. There was a lot that I went on about with, UPS drivers and delivery men and Amazon and FedEx. There's just really not a really good delivery service. And I kind of went off on a tangent about the wedding with Bezos and, oh gosh, so unnecessary. But, then again, I say to myself, I don't know where I'm going to be pulling from when I do a video, and when I do a reading. Sometimes not sometimes, all the times, I might not understand why I'm talking about something, but I know it will make itself clear to me when I go to record Self-Care Sunday. And what I'm doing here right now is I think I kind of looked at, I wanted to make sure, I knew I had a couple of drills missing down the bottom on the edge of the border. The only black drills in this canvas is where you see my hand, which is that border. It's like black, white, yellow, black, white, black. And there were a couple of drills missing there. So I was looking to see, oh, okay, I have some patchwork to do here. I need to fix this. And then there was a few more at the top, a few AB drills that had fallen off. This absolutely will be sealed. Will I do it on camera? I don't know. I think I need to order more of my Art Dot sealant because I actually like that one. I have sealed a few things with that sealant. It doesn't yellow, it doesn't take away from the shine. So I will be using that as the sealant on this canvas. Some of my drills were put away already, which is why I'm fighting with this little drill that I had to dig out of a plastic bag. And yeah, I'm going to be doing a kit down. I'm wondering what I'm going to be doing with my members for member meetup, Moogle. My member Google meetup, Moogle. I'm wondering, do I want to kit down while I'm talking to you guys? For those of you that are listening, do I want to? Oh, I won't be doing any kind of. I think I'll kit this down because I need a tray. And I'm just admiring too, not just looking at the canvas, but I'm looking at the bottom of the canvas and I'm admiring the work and really taking in how far I've come. This is 2 years, guys. This is 2 summer with the masters, and I was really proud of myself that I did put it away, and I was like, you know, summer with the masters is over. Am I coming into? Oh, I stopped for a second. I was like, oh, I saw like a little split in the video that because I had edited up to this far already, and I thought maybe I was going to start talking because I know I'm going to pop up here like pretty soon to tell you guys that I'm standing up and that the clock had my storage space had run out. I'm picking putty off over here, just so you know. And I did do, when I was by myself, I did use my E-pen. It did pick up square drills, but it won't multi-place square drills. There needs to be a multi-placer for square drills for that pen. But, you know, that's when I don't like my putty when I have to. And so I picked that off. There was putty on there, and that spot became a little dull. And that's star or glue. They come in little capsules, 7 of them, so that you don't have to open them all. And I'll just be waiting for that to dry. Oh, yep, here I am. I'm coming up. Hold on. Oh, I'm looking to turn the volume on. This is it, guys. Home stretch. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. I have a couple of little patchwork things I have to do. I'm going to end with the one section that is the stars, and there's maybe about a dozen. But before I do that, and while this is drying, I'm going to clean up my desk, and I am going to look to see that when I put down drill number 112,000, that it is 112,000. So I'm going to just scan this for any, I don't really need you out anymore, my pen, any, you know, any missing drills, and get them fixed before we come into the home stretch. And I'm so curious as to what future me is talking about. Because, like I said, it's a quiet time. I'm going to be reading from Book of Awakening for the Self-Care Sunday. And I have a little drill tray out. I'm digging all my trays out, and I have a little one out. Okay. They're right here, that's why. And, I'm wondering how this whole Self-Care Sunday is going. It's making sense. Okay, I made any repairs that I saw. The 2 missing black drills. There were 2 more missing in the top of the border, and 2 AB drills. They needed some of my star or glue. They got tacked back down. This is the end of the symbol X, and then I'm going to do the stars, and then we're going to take a good look at this girl. Hello again. No, you are not seeing things. It is the next day. I don't know where I'm leaving off at. When I stopped the video to look to see if I had any missing drills and do my little repairs, I looked up at the camera and I had 3 seconds left of video time. So I couldn't finish last night. And I had to start doing my editing so that I could get rid of any extra footage that I didn't need and make space for the ending of this beautiful canvas. And I was like, I don't believe it. Thank God I looked up. I would have been talking to no one. I probably would have been putting 112,000 down. Would have looked up and would have been like, what? It wasn't recording. So let's go. Let's go. I'm so anxious, not anxious. I'm so eager to know what my past, what my future me is going to be talking about, because Self-Care Sunday is a voiceover and I haven't done that yet. And I'm wondering, like, should I just read Sunday, June 29th? Because it's totally out of my head. I forgot it. Or should I read August 1st? I don't know. I'll read them both because there's a lot of video time where, you know, I think it's like over an hour that I was diamond painting. Oh, here we go. Here we go. And I'm standing up. And that's what made me actually see it. I was standing up. I was like, oh, I think I'm going to stand up for the rest of this. You know, I'm getting a little, you know, it's getting to be too much, all this sitting. Oh, so this is the end of what I have. And of course you see me, I'm actually diamond painting out of this container, and it's mixed drills. I don't know if I actually, because I don't know if I actually mentioned that when I was doing Self-Care Sunday, because when I'm doing Self-Care Sunday, I'm doing Self-Care Sunday. I'm like in my zone. I might just take this with me. The video, I mean, I might just take this with me because I told you guys I'm going to Jersey, and John is out for his walk. He had a pen and paper. So he is, you know, he's doing his thing. He actually is doing a live benefit. So while I was having Joshua in July of 1986, my husband was at Live Aid. So Live Aid here in Philly. And so there's a benefit by one of the promoters who was at his last gig. They're really good friends. And his brother passed away, and they want to do a benefit for him, and they want to tie it into the recreating the music that was played here in Philly. So they're getting all these musicians together. John is going to be one. Well, John's really doing the promo and the marketing and getting the bands together to see if they want to be a part of it. And yeah, so I think it's going to be down at one of the restaurants. It's going to be where he was. The owner has another restaurant. John played there the night before we left for Florida. And I believe that that's where they're going to have it. Where I'm just like, God, you can have it in my backyard. My backyard is bigger than that place. So, yeah. So he's out. I saw him with his book. I saw him, and he's very like, what are we doing today? What time are we going to your mother's? I got so many things on my mind. We get the same exact way. We get very anxious when we have a lot of things to do. It's like our mind can't settle because we can't focus on what to do first. And it's really like I've trained myself how to be more productive with that and not get like all up in my head. Whereas John is just like, he's walking right now, and that's one of the tools that you can use if you get like that also. That's one of the tools that you can use where you're just like, let me, if you're walking, you got movement in your body and you're burning that energy, and it also clears your mind, you know, you're breathing air, so he's running into people. He was texting me. He's like, oh, I just saw Victor and he's going to do Ferragamo this year in the park, and I told him we'll be there. And I'm like, okay, put it on my calendar, because it's in September. So I need to know, what I'm doing in September. We went out to Brooklyn the last time. No, we didn't go to Brooklyn. Where did we go? Where the heck was that? It wasn't in the Bronx. Was it in the Bronx? Yeah, it was in the Bronx. I think. I don't know where I was. That was the bus trip from hell. They got us on this bus, and the bathrooms weren't working, and they had to send something else, so it really wasn't up. But people were divided up into two different. I think we were in a van, and the guy that we had that was driving, I was terrified at the way he was driving. So, oh, it was in Harlem. That's where it was. It was in Harlem. Was it? Or did we drive through? I can't remember. But it was okay. So much has changed in New York, too. You know, I was like, oh, there's a couple places that I know in Harlem that I want to go to. Because I like to break away from things like that. I like to be in the local, where the locals are, no matter where I travel. I don't get caught up in where all the tourists go. I like to be where I want to see how you really live, you know, and I will break away no matter where I am. I did that on a cruise. Everybody was getting on a bus. We made a stop in Florida. They're like, where are you going? I'm like, I'm waiting for an Uber. They're like, an Uber? I'm like, you're still in the States. I'm going to Cocoa Beach. This is it. This is it. Where's the one spot that I got to do? Where'd they go? Where's the stars? Do you want to believe I can't find the blank space? Oh, here it is. It's up here. All right, moving this down. And then this is it, kids. We're coming up to 111,090. Right here is going to be where the last drill is going to be placed, which will be number 112,000. Here we go. Oh my God, my hands are shaking. Because I really thought, I can't even believe I took this back out, you know, and it's you guys, you know. Gabrielle was a big inspiration to me. She just kept saying to me, you're going to feel so much better when it's done. You're going to feel so much better, you know. And she was right. So, you know, it's you guys that lead me on. And thank you for that. It's been a long, I have to tell you, it's not been a long time. It's been a while since I did a project this big and had the thrill of placing the last drill. 99. Mark it. It's the last one. 112,000. 112,000 drills. Night's Rest by Alphonse Mucha. The diamond painting is from the Diamond Painting Shop. I am going to hang her up and we're going to get a full look at her. So this is where she hung when I was working on her. My desk was in the living room. And this was the only place to hang her. She is almost as big as my door. Oh my God, it's just so beautiful. I love the detailing on this. I love the borders. Here's the top. And they are pink AB drills in the flowers, and the green also AB drills. I love the detailing. And then I'll show you the bottom. Oh, so gorgeous. I love the draping of the gown on this. Much like the moon that I have that I got from Diamond Painting Shop. I love how you're looking at her through this sort of stained glass window. Is she sitting out in the garden? And like this is the door that probably leads to her bedroom. I love the moon in the back. The moon is all AB drills. And I had a door like that growing up in my home. My childhood home was on Pier Street, but then when we moved and I had my own bedroom, because when I was really little and we were on Pier Street, I shared a room with my brother, but when we moved into a bigger home, I had my own bedroom and there was a stained glass door, oh, gorgeous, that led to a little balcony that led out to the yard. And oh God, that door is absolutely beautiful. And that's what that reminds me of. She's leaning on a pillow. There's a little flower next to her. The face is beautiful, the hands. But I love the draping of the fabric because Mucha, he could have been a designer actually. I mean, when the models that he had would come to the studio, and he would drape them in fabric. And he also took photographs of them nude because he was studying their body. He had them in different positions of like, well, where does everything fall? How do you sit? What do your legs look like underneath the fabric? And then the fabric on top that he would just drape them in, whether it was a sheet or just this gorgeous fabric, and then he would put them in all these different poses, and he would take pictures, and he used a grid system. Just so stunning, just so stunning. I love those pictures of Mucha, and if you're interested in the Mucha masterclass that I did, all that is in there. You can look for Mucha and his models, and Mucha and photography. I did a lot of different classes based on this particular painting. I don't think I did it. I don't think I was into that when I was doing the moon. The moon was my second summer with the masters. This is my third. And here comes the boss. There we have it. A finish. A WIP Chat, a vlog, a self-care Sunday, all in one. Whew. Thank you for joining me on this 2-year adventure. She did go away for 2024. I didn't finish her. 2025. Now what's on the back of my door is the Mucha winter that I got to do Mucha Madness with Anthony. That's not complete yet, so I do have another Mucha. And if you were looking at my door, this is the way that I'm hanging my whatchamacalls too. I have back here, oh, see how I have them like that? And then I buy these overhang holders. Well, not that one, but I buy the ones in the dollar store that you can hang over the door, and they have like 5 or 6 hooks going across. And so they slide in better on those. They slide in better on those. The back of my door right now has about 5 diamond paintings hung in this fashion, and they just hang one on top of the other, on top of the other, with the dollar store ones. So I have ideas for her. She is 60 colors, believe it or not. It seems like a lot more, doesn't it? And she was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ABs. I still have a lot of drills left over. And I used to love looking at her here at, when I was sitting in my living room. I used to love looking at her hanging on the door. There's a little bit of a crease in her. I got to go straighten that out. Hold on. But when I would be sitting watching TV, and I have to tell you that when the light changes, it also changes. You'll see like different reflections in it. You might, when the sun goes down, you get that golden hour. You will see where it's like the pinks are like really a beautiful shade of pink, maybe just a little bit deeper. The fabric, and it would just blow too in the wind, and the fabric would move, and it would look like the fabric was moving, is what I'm trying to say. The canvas would sway a little bit, and it would look like the fabric was moving, and you would see all that glittering from the AB drills that are on the top. I don't think there's any on the bottom. I think they're all up higher, which is interesting because the moon, all the ABs are up higher. The moon is like shades of 823 and 939 and 310, and then you get to her face, and then you get color because she has flowers in her hair, and they're all AB drills. And so she's just, oh gosh, I love that canvas too. Yeah, I don't think that there's any AB drills. These are just really, really shiny. No, there's none on the bottom, and I love that fanning on the bottom. Oh God, I love it. I love that fanning. I can't believe she's done. Now I have a few ideas, this girl, and I'll be sharing it with my members on Monday when we get together for the Moogle for the member meetup. And that's it, guys. I am ready to go see my mom, and I have a reading to do, which I'll probably do down here because it is sweltering in my room already. So there you have it. Had to put one of my master shirts on today. So present me is going to go back on this video and going to do Self-Care Sunday. I will see you. I will see my members on Monday. I will see you guys on Tuesday for a live at 7 p.m. Again, thank you if you followed this journey with me. It's so exciting. Yeah, it's so exciting to see her. And my great ships when they came to Philly.